Welcome to Tiny Traitors, where history's most shocking betrayals come to life. Every episode, we take you inside the stories, the betrayals, the conspiracies, the moments that changed the world because of one person who chose the wrong side. Rome, 44 BC, the greatest city in the known world, and at the very top of it, one man. Julius Caesar, general, conqueror, dictator, the most powerful human being alive. But Caesar did not arrive at the top of Rome by accident. He fought his way there. Military campaign after military campaign, victory after victory. He conquered Gaul, modern-day France, in 8 brutal years. 8 years of warfare that made his soldiers worship him like a god. Then came the moment that changed everything. The Rubicon River, the boundary Caesar was forbidden to cross with his army. He crossed it anyway. Civil war erupted across Rome. Caesar fought it. Caesar won it. And when it was over, he walked into Rome not as a general, but as the most powerful man who had ever lived. The city that had once been a republic of equals now had one man standing above all others. Julius Caesar, the most powerful human being alive. But power like that doesn't just attract admirers, it attracts fear. And fear, in Rome, had a name. His name was Brutus. Marcus Junius Brutus was not Caesar's enemy. He was, by every account, one of Caesar's most valued men. And Caesar loved Brutus. Not as a subject, not as a soldier, not as a useful ally, as a friend. Caesar was known for his sharp judgment of people. He rarely trusted easily. But Brutus was different. There are accounts of Caesar defending Brutus in public, praising his character, his intellect, his honor. Caesar once said that Brutus deserved whatever he wanted from Rome, because whatever Brutus wanted, he wanted for the right reasons. Think about that for a moment. The most powerful man in Rome trusted Brutus more than anyone. He pardoned him after a civil war. He gave him political office. He defended his reputation. Caesar opened every door he had to Brutus. Then came Cassius. Gaius Cassius Longinus was sharper, colder, and far more calculating than Brutus. He saw in Brutus something useful, a noble name, a respected reputation, and a conscience that could be weaponized. Cassius whispered in Brutus's ear for weeks. Caesar was becoming a king. Caesar was a threat to the republic that Brutus's own ancestors had sworn to protect with their lives. And slowly, piece by piece, Brutus convinced himself that what he was about to do wasn't betrayal, it was duty. Brutus was not alone. Cassius had been busy. For months, quietly, carefully, he had been recruiting, senator by senator, whisper by whisper, promise by promise. By the time Brutus made his decision, there were already 60 senators in the conspiracy. 60 of Rome's most powerful men, meeting in secret in darkened rooms. That night, Caesar went home. He had dinner. He read. He spoke with friends. A normal evening for the most powerful man in the world. Across the city, In darkened rooms and quiet corridors, 60 men were not having a normal evening. They were sharpening blades, rehearsing positions, whispering final instructions. And somewhere in those darkened rooms, Brutus sat alone, with his scrolls on virtue, and his treatises on duty, and his absolute certainty that tomorrow morning he was going to save Rome. The night before the Ides of March, Caesar's wife Calpurnia woke screaming. She had dreamed of his death. She begged him not to go to the Senate. Caesar almost listened. Almost. The morning of March 15th, a soothsayer stepped forward in the street. He looked Caesar directly in the eye and said, "Beware the Ides of March." Caesar smiled and walked on. At the Senate entrance, a man pressed a note into Caesar's hand. The note contained the names of the conspirators, every single one. Caesar put it in his pocket, unread. He never read it. March 15th. 44 BC. The Ides of March. Caesar entered the Senate that morning with no bodyguard. He had been warned, multiple warnings, from multiple people. He ignored every single one. Perhaps he trusted Rome. Perhaps he trusted the men around him. Perhaps, most painfully of all, he trusted Brutus. The conspirators surrounded him, around 60 senators, all of them armed with daggers hidden beneath their robes. The first blade struck, then another, then another. 23 times. That is how many times Julius Caesar was stabbed on the floor of the Roman Senate. Ancient accounts differ on Caesar's final moments. The historian Suetonius tells us Caesar said nothing. He simply pulled his toga over his face and accepted his fate in silence. The famous words, "Et tu, Brute," those come from Shakespeare, written 1600 years later, not from history. But what Shakespeare understood, what every account agrees on, is this. When Caesar saw Brutus among his attackers, he stopped fighting. Not because the wounds were too many, but because the one face he never expected to see was there. Brutus stepped outside that afternoon, fully expecting to be celebrated. He had prepared a speech. He was going to explain everything, how this was for Rome, for the Republic, for freedom. The crowd was silent, then angry, then violent. Rome did not want to be saved. Rome had loved Caesar. Caesar had cancelled their debts, reformed their taxes, given land to soldiers who had nothing. The people didn't see a tyrant. They saw their champion lying dead on a marble floor. 3 days after the assassination, Mark Antony stood over Caesar's body in the Roman Forum. And he spoke. He did not attack the conspirators directly. He was too clever for that. Instead, he simply read Caesar's will to the crowd. Caesar had left money to every single citizen of Rome. He had left his gardens as public parks for the people to enjoy forever. Then Antony held up Caesar's toga, riddled with the marks of 23 wounds, and he named every conspirator who made them. The crowd, that had been silent, erupted. They tore through the streets of Rome in fury, hunting the conspirators, burning their homes. In a single afternoon, Mark Antony had done what 60 senators with daggers could not. He had destroyed Brutus without raising a single blade. Brutus had killed Caesar to save the Republic. Mark Antony's speech buried them both. For 2 years, Brutus and his allies fought to hold on. 2 years of civil war, of running, of watching everything they had hoped to build crumble around them. In 42 BC, at the Battle of Philippi in northern Greece, it finally ended. Defeated by Mark Antony and Caesar's heir Octavian, Brutus had nowhere left to go. He took his own life on the battlefield. The republic he died trying to save, it died with him. Within years, Octavian became Augustus, Rome's first emperor. The very thing Brutus had killed Caesar to prevent. Here is the final irony of everything Brutus did. He killed Caesar to prevent Caesar becoming too powerful. It did not work. In death, Caesar became something no living man could ever be. Untouchable. Statues were built across the empire. Temples were raised in his name. The month of July, named after him. Julius, July. His name literally written into the calendar, into time itself. And then something extraordinary happened. His name became a title. Every Roman emperor after him called themselves Caesar. The word traveled across centuries, across languages, across empires. In Germany, Kaiser. In Russia, Tsar. Both words are just Caesar, said differently. The man Brutus killed to stop him becoming a king became the root word for king in half the languages on earth. 2,000 years later, we still say his name. Julius Caesar. Some men are simply too large for death to contain. Here is what history actually teaches us about Brutus. He was not a monster. He was not a villain twirling a dagger in the dark. He was a man who genuinely believed he was doing the right thing so completely, so totally, that he never stopped to ask whether he might be wrong. And that is the most dangerous kind of person there is. Because the road to catastrophe is almost never paved by people who know they're doing evil. It's paved by people absolutely convinced they're doing good. The next time you're certain, completely, unshakably certain, that you're the righteous one, ask yourself what Brutus would have said the morning of March 15th. He would have said exactly the same thing. Tiny traitors, history's darkest secrets. Subscribe, and we'll see you in the next betrayal.